Dear Mr. Lê Minh Ngân, Deputy Ministry of National Resources and Environment, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In 2018, the United Nations launched the theme, Tackling Plastic and Plastic Pollution, in order to advocate and calm the community to change the habit to single-use plastic products and mitigate environmental pollution and protect community health. Many countries all over the world have taken specific measures to reduce and ban environmentally friendly plastic products and at the same time increase plastic waste recycling and reusing. Following the global trend, the government of Vietnam has actively participated to proposing a global and regional cooperation mechanisms on plastic waste reduction and several occasions, such as the Z Summit in Canada and the World Economic Forum at Davos in 2018. In December 4, 2019, the Vietnam Prime Minister had approved the decision number 1746 on the promulgation of the National Action Plans on Marine Plastic Litter Management to 2020, followed by Directive number 33 dated August 20, 2020 by the Prime Minister on enhancement of plastic waste management, reuse, recycle, treatment, and reduction. As approved by the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment had assigned the Vietnam Administration of Seas and Iceland to hold and join hands with the UN Environment to organize the Sea of Solution 2020. Attending the conference today allow us to introduce my presence of leaders, delegates, distinguished guests from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment. I would like to introduce Mr. Lê Minh Ngân, Deputy Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment. From the embassies, we would like to introduce Mr. Haga Akihino, First Secretary, Member of the Economic Committee of Embassy of Japan. Ms. Mariati Lita Pratama, Consular of Embassy of Indonesia. Ms. Shani Dapa Yukadata, Secretary of the Embassy of Thailand. From the international organizations, we would like to introduce Ms. Kathleen Weisen, Chief Resident Representative of UNDP. From the Vietnam Administration of Seas and Islands, we would like to introduce Mr. Ta Dinh Thi, Director General of Vietnam Administration of Seas and Islands. Mr. Nguyễn Quế Lâm, Deputy Director of Vietnam Administration of Seas and Islands. Ladies and gentlemen, our conference today is expected to be in a half a day with following agenda. 1. Sea and Solutions 2020 Conference. Technical sessions on promoting and policies against marine plastic litter in Vietnam. High-level sessions, summary and closing sessions. 2. Presentation workshop on the mitigation of marine plastic waste in Vietnam project. Now, may I invite Mr. Lê Minh Ngân, Vietnam Deputy Minister of Natural Resources and Environment, to give an opening speech, please.
Kính thưa
distinguished guests and speakers,
First of all, on behalf of the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment and the Government of Vietnam, I'd like to express our honor being partnering with the UNDP and the Coordination Committee for the Series of Solutions 2020 conference. And this is a continuation of the previous event organized in Thailand. And this is one of the very important activities of the series of activities that Vietnam has been hosting as a chair of ASEAN. And I'd like to welcome all of you. And I wish you all the best and good health and success. Ladies and gentlemen, the unsustainable production and use of plastic products has become a major danger for the ecosystem and environment, both on land, in the sea, and in our oceans. And in order to overcome all these challenges, it is most important to engage all stakeholders, including policymakers, managers, entrepreneurs, and consumers. We all need to join hands in a systemic manner in producing and using plastic products. However, with the COVID-19 pandemic outbreaks, many countries had to hold their plan of reducing plastic use and have to adopt the pandemic prevention and control measures, particularly using facial masks in contacting with other people. And it is one of the reasons resulting to the limitation in making success in reducing plastic, while it is one of the reasons resulting in success in containing the pandemic. The increase in the use of single-use facial masks and other similar products has caused another challenge on plastic waste, especially many pollution treatment facilities have to reduce or even suspend their operations due to social distancing and lockdown. And this is a high time for us to maintain the results that we have obtained so far and continue our efforts in controlling and reducing use of plastic products. And for this purpose, the initiatives and the cooperation models need to play a bigger role in creating a more enabling environment and platforms to share experience and knowledge on policy making, development, and transfer of technologies, capacity building in every nation and across nations. And one of such initiatives is the Circular Economy Initiative, focusing on the reuse and recycling of waste for production of other products, taking advantage and making use of the used materials instead of spending costly investments in new materials for production. And on this occasion, I'd like to express our sincere thanks to the Swedish government for sponsoring this project to reduce plastic litter to reduce the impact on the seas for the six Southeast Asian countries, including Vietnam. And as Vietnam's efforts in containing COVID-19 have been well recognized by the world, we hope that our efforts in responding to the challenge of plastic pollution will also be such as recognizable. And I hope that in going forward, the nations and international organizations will continue this cooperation and support Vietnam in this noble cause. Thank you very much.
Our thanks to Deputy Minister. And now I would like to invite Associate Professor Vũ Đình Hiếu, Deputy Director of the Vietnam Institute of Sea and Iceland, to deliver the first presentation in the Vietnam Technical Sessions, National Action Program to Mitigate Marine Plastic Waste in Vietnam, and visions of an international center of marine plastic litter. Please.
ladies and gentlemen. Today I would like to present the summary of the ICU and perhaps of the Vietnam Administration, the Sea and Islands. My presentation is a two-part. The first part is the International Action Plan, and the second part is Orientation International Center. And now we go to the first part, the National Action Plan. The National Action Plan, and now we go to the sorry. Let's not. Ah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Our presentation has two parts. The first part is National Action Plan on Management Practice of Risk Management. The second part is Orientation International Center. The first part is the objectives. Objectives is we hope that in the 2005, plastic waste and collection abandon will reduce to the 50% and prevent the use of the single-use plastics, and some cultural tourist area will reduce to the 80%. And we hope in the 2013, in the plastic waste will reduce to the 75%, and another will reduce to the 100%. And finally, assessing status with the every 5 years for the 11 main river and the 12 island districts. With this objective, we go to some solution. Our solution is, I'm sorry. Next slide. Some solution. The first solution is So first solution is education and training. The second is the collection, classification, and you control the practices of trust and international cooperation. And finally, we consistent investigation, survey, review, research, and formulation mechanisms for the marriage practice. Next slide. And for the solution, we have put on the time for the National Action Plan. The first times, the first time is to establish a common legal and institutional framework. The second, to build a system of general standards and regulations on plastic and microplastics. The third is strengthen propaganda, raise people aware, and strengthening international cooperation, scientific research, its implementation, evaluation, and finally, we push on the practice and regional international research center. Now we go to the detail of the content. The first content about the legal and institution framework is perform the decision and deploy a destination from the government and from the MONRE push on. And besides that, and besides that, we have to come up. And besides that, there's some ministry issues to the national plan. For example, Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development has a conference about the managing the ocean plastic, and there are 9 provinces and cities have a beach approved action plan. For example, the Hải Phòng, Thanh Hóa, and Bình Thuận, and so on. Next. Now we go to the 3 content of the National Action Plan, and we have some activity for this action. Next line. Next. Well, we have some activity for them. The first, international cooperation. The second is the investigation. And the next one, we develop some standards for testing, for the evaluating, for the investigation, and collecting plastic waste nationally. And one key point, very important for the National Action Plan, is building or operating the International Ocean Practice Center. Now we go to the National Center. Next slide. The first point I want to talk about the function of the National Center. The first function is the international cooperation leader, promote the change creation. The second mission, next slide. The second mission is the second mission is organization, communication, internal information about the ocean practice leader. And the next one is the promotes and eradicates the rules practice policy is the war. And finally, next one. And finally, promotes the international policy research from the new international legal frameworks on the ocean practice leader. And so on, we making a database on the lake practice leader in the sea and ocean. For this function, the International Center will put on some targets. The first target is to implement the Vietnam initiatives and commitments in the international frameworks. The second target is we put on the increasing law enforcement, on the managing the aggregating resources and protecting the environment. And we will also promote the international cooperation and international integration in solving the problem of ocean plastic litter pollution. And we finally improve the capacity in preventing, minimizing, and managing the ocean plastic litter. And for that, this target, we have some activity in this year and next year. In this year, we formulate a new organization structures and legal provisions to operate. The second year, in 2021, we received a session of requirements for investigating, surveying, analyzing, and testing plastic waste sponsored by the Japan government. And we also have organizing international seminar and conference. We established with relationship with some developed countries, for example, Japan, Canada, and the US. And we also organize with some organizations, for example, World Bank, UNDP, or WWF, and others. And finally, it's next year, we will build a database system. And in the future, in the 2022, we hope, next one, we hope to promote the cooperation with other countries and international organizations. And we deploy the process to investigate, survey, analyze plastic waste, and we hope we announce the national plastic waste database annually. And in the future, 2030, we hope marine plastic waste will reduce by the 75%. It's about time for limits, so I only summarize some key points from the National Action Plan and the National in the Center. So please have any questions, please contact with me. Thank you so much for everyone's attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Vũ Đình Kiều, for your informative presentations on National Implementation Program and the International Center on Marine Plastic Litter. Let us hope that the global goal in this presentation will be realized through the partnerships of countries, institutions, and enterprise. Ladies and gentlemen, please be advised that the last 40 minutes for the sessions will be spent for the question and comments. Should you have any questions, kindly write the question after 4 presentations have been made. Back to the program, I would like to invite Mr. Hoàng Thành Vinh, representative of UNDP Vietnam, to share his view on changing regional approach and location participation. Please.
So, good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. So my name is Vinh from UNDP Vietnam, and I would like to, I'm very happy to be here to present our work at UNDP. So my presentation is about the regional innovation approach and local engagement for combating marine plastic litter in Vietnam. Yes, so for the past 3 days, so we have been through under the Sea of Solution event. So we have been through many presentations and sessions. So we would have a lot of understanding about the plastic pollution in the world as well as in the region, especially in the ASEAN region. So if you look at the photo there in my presentation, you can see a lot of green points in the ASEAN region. That means the ASEAN is kind of the hot region in terms of the plastic pollution in the world. And immediately, very quick efforts in June 2019, the ASEAN summit has came up with the Bangkok Declaration on the plastic on the fight against plastic pollution. So basically, the solution include the strengthen the national policy frameworks and setting clear targets 2025, 2030, like Mr. Vũ Đình Hiếu just presented. Awareness raising campaigns and activities on plastic pollution to promote change in consumption and production patterns, and many other activities such as international cooperation and experience sharing. So this is describe what we are doing here at UNDP Vietnam. So we understand it is very well understood that so to tackle plastic pollution, so there is no single activities. We need to have a set of different activities. So we call it a portfolio or system approach to address plastic pollution. So if you see in the diagram, the UNDP Vietnam, so we carry out different groups of activity, including policy advisory on plastic, support to community to leave no one behind, to promote innovation, collective intelligence, multi-stakeholder platform, and the multi-level action and collaboration. So in order to go into detail, we want to present the three main groups of activities. So the first one is on the regional innovation approach, which we call Ending Plastic Pollution Innovation Challenge, or EPIC. So this is basically a competition to be designed to find innovative solution to combat marine plastic litter. So EPIC is an ASEAN-wide competition to collect the solution not only from Vietnam, but also from ASEAN member states. So the EPIC pioneering, that means to open the application for different stakeholders from the government, academia, from business, private sectors, so individuals, NGOs, CSO as well. And once the solution, the innovative solution is selected, so we will support to scale up and replication. Next slide, please. So we are very happy to share the initial results from the EPIC 2020, which is organized in Vietnam and Thailand, with the location of Ha Long Bay and Samui Island in Thailand. So until the closure of the application, we have received 159 application, which is great, and coming from 7 ASEAN countries. So here, many of them, so some of them are from the education, some is reduce, reuse, recycle, collect, and clean up, so many different categories. So for the next step, we will have the final pitching competition in January 2021 with VASI and MONRE, and we will prepare for the EPIC 2021 in Indonesia and the Philippines. So that is the next step for the EPIC. So as I can say, the EPIC is the innovation approach to source the new ideas, the new solution to combat marine plastic litter from all stakeholders in the society. Next slide, please. So the second group of activities is local engagement. So how are we gonna engage people from community for the plastic reduction? So we all know about the plastic made up to only 10 to 12% of the domestic waste. So to tackle marine plastic, we need to tackle the domestic solid waste as well. So from this activity, we have engaged 5 cities. So 5 cities have established a small-scale models of domestic waste management in Quảng Ninh, Đà Nẵng, Bình Định, Bình Thuận, and Bình Dương. And from each community, we have established a sub-union of women waste workers. So to meeting one of our objectives at UNDP is to leave no one behind. So we all know that they are informal sector and they are mostly women, and they are working on the waste sector to support the waste management in the country. And lastly, the awareness raising and participation of all stakeholders under this project, socialized model of waste management in 5 cities. Next slide, please. And finally, and very important, we do policy advisory and experiment and about waste and plastic. So we can be specified. For example, with VASI MONRE, we work together on the formulation and implementation of the National Action Plan on Marine Plastic Litter. We work with VEA, Viet Nam Environment Administration, for the inclusion of circular economy into the law on environmental protection, which is just approved last week by the National Assembly. We work with ICE-MONRE under MONRE to include the CE in the social economic development strategy, and also to support to develop the circular economy platform. Also with the management, also with agriculture sector to start a plastic plant in fishery and crop and livestock sector, and some circular economy work experiment on the waste management in Da Nang and in MOIT as well. So basically, those are 3 groups of activities we are implementing at UNDP Vietnam. So it's a contribute to the 7 groups of activity. We call it the portfolio and system approach, and hopefully to work closely with the government of Vietnam and different countries to contribute to the sustainable development of the ocean. Thank you.
Thank you. It can be seen that the EPIC challenges and other activities carried out by UNDP with support from the Norwegian government has provided the great contributions to the countries by tackling marine plastic litter issue. To continue with the conference, I would like to invite Ms. Nguyễn Thị Diệu Thúy, representative of WWF Vietnam, to deliver her speech.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be here present with you about our project which is illustrates strong WWF support for the effort of international as well as national of Vietnam to end the impacts of plastic waste in on the nature and especially on the marine ecosystem. So the project is funded by the Federal Ministry of Environment, Natural Conservation and Nuclear Safety of Germany. And the project lasts from October of 2019 to December of 2023. The project is owned by Viet Nam Administration of Seas and Islands with the managing agency of Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment. The total budget of the project is about 9,800,000 euros. And the project covering several components, including some working with the central government, focus on the work with Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, as well as at the local level with 7 cities, districts in A Lưới, Đà Nẵng, Đồng Hới, Hà Tĩnh, Long An, Rạch Giá, and Tuy Hòa. It's also covered 3 marine protected areas of Phú Quốc, Côn Đảo, and Cù Lao Chàm. Yeah, next, please. The project covering 4 components with the aim to reduce the resources of plastic leakage into the environment from the geographical area, important geographical area. The 4 components of the project, including first is communication, second is policy advocacy, the third one is plastic smart city, and the last one is marine protected area. For the component 1, the communication, the aim of this component is to implement the behavior change campaign on plastic waste to reduce at national and provincial level of the impact of plastic waste. It covers 3 key outputs. First is the campaign to change awareness, to raise awareness for the community, as well as the behavior, driving for the behavior change. And the second one is to produce and deliver advocacy and communication material on impact and solution to unsustainable waste management practice to be used in outreach campaigns. And the last one in this component is to develop and roll out an extracurricular program at schools to reduce plastic waste productions. And for the second component on policy, the project is focused on developing to join effort with the government and other organizations who are having the same working direction to develop the extended producer responsibility scheme for Vietnam. And the second one is to develop, to advocate for policy to support the reduction of marine plastic at the central and local level. And the last one is strengthening the international cooperation of Vietnam and regional as well as international to contribute to the effort of ending the impact of plastic waste on the nature. The third component, like UNDP, focusing on the city, and our initiative is named Plastic Smart Cities. This component covering 7 cities, as I mentioned earlier. And with this component, we aim to support the city to develop their own plastic waste management action plan. Key aspect of this component is to first to mobilize the commitment of the city on the effort to reduce plastic waste in their cities, and the second aspect is to support the expansion of pilot of the solid waste management model in Long An. And Long An is one of the kind of special model which we hope that will be successful and can be multiplied to other cities of Vietnam. And the third one of this component is to support those 7 cities I mentioned earlier in supporting their desire, their commitment, and their plan to reduce the plastic waste. And the last one is to share, after having all of those experience, we will share the lesson learned of the Plastic Smart City initiative to other cities in Vietnam as well as all over the world in order to expand the effort. And our aim, WWF's aim, is to have about 1,000 cities to join the network of Plastic Smart City all over the world. And in Vietnam, we aim that by 2025 we will have 10 cities committed to this one, committed to this initiative. And the last component, please. Next, please. The last component is about marine protected area. This component is aimed to reduce the amount of plastic waste in the 3 key marine protected areas of Phu Quoc, Con Đảo, and Cù Lao Chàm. Within this component, we have some key expected output. First is to work with the General Directorate of Fishery under Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to develop the action plan in managing plastic waste in the fishery sector. And the second output of this component is to continue support Phu Quoc on reducing the plastic waste, not only on the island, but also reducing the impact of plastic waste on the key marine habitat in Phu Quoc. And the third and the fourth aspect of this one, of this component is to support Con Đảo and Cù Lao Chàm in developing policy of managing solid waste, as well as support some model of waste separation, composting, and reducing, encouraging the recycling in these 2 islands together with Phu Quoc. And the last one is to create the linkage between the community, the private sector, and the MPA, the marine protected area itself, to contribute to the reduction of in volume and impact of plastic on marine protected area biodiversity and ecosystem functions. The project have the structure, as I mentioned earlier, that MONRE and the provinces representing by a provincial people committee is the owner of the project, with key representative agency of Viet Nam Administration of Seas and Islands. The project management board included the director, including the management board with director Mr. Tạ Đình Thi and vice director Mr. Liu Anh-Duc. It's also having some other member of the management board, technical work group, the coordinator, as well as the supporting people. The project will have in charge and focal people for the 4 components, and the work will be mainly supported by WWF staff, as well as the province and central organization in the involving in this project. Yes, next please. Yeah, and in those 9 cities, in those 9 provinces, we have Hà Tĩnh. In Hà Tĩnh, we work with Department of Natural Resources and Environment, named in short called MONRE, and District of People Committee of Hà Tĩnh cities. And in Quảng Bình province, we are also working with MONRE Quảng Bình, with Đồng Hới cities. In Thừa Thiên Huế, we are also working with MONRE, with Department of, with District People Committee of A Lưới District. In Đà Nẵng, we are also working with MONRE, with Thanh Khê cities. And in Quảng Nam, we are working with MONRE, with Hội An City and Cù Lao Chàm MPA. In Phú Yên, we are working with MONRE and Tuy Hòa cities. In Long An, MONRE and Tân An City. Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu is MONRE, Côn Đảo District People Committee and National Park. In Kiên Giang, we have MONRE, Rạch Giá City, Phú Quốc District, and Phú Quốc National Park. We are having 10 project sites, but only in 9 provinces because Kiên Giang having 2 sites. So that is very brief about our project. We also deliver the project brief in the package of the meeting today, so you can have further information in the brief, in the project brief. And if you want to know any further information about the project, please contact us. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nguyễn Thị Diệu Thúy, for introducing a very interesting and promising project with numbers of effective and feasible solutions. To continue with the conference, I would like to invite Dr. Nguyễn Lê Thăng Long, Head of R&D Department, ANFAT Holdings, to speak on the topic Solutions for Ocean Plastic Pollutions.
Okay. Dear Mr. Lemingan, Deputy Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, dear distinguished guests, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure today to be here with you to share my presentation. My name is Nguyễn Lê Thăng Long, and I'm the head of R&D department of ANFAT Holdings, a group of 16 companies. Next slide, please. Today, firstly, I will share about our company. Next slide, please. Our company has almost 20 years old, from 2002 until now, going through 19 years of development. We are currently having 16 companies working in mostly in plastic industry. And sorry, back slide, please. Go back, please. Can you go back, please? Back, please. Yeah. So our vision is to become the leading company for the high technology and environment friendly. And this is our vision. And one of the vision is to produce eco-friendly products. So since the last 10 years, we have invested in the R&D to develop bioplastic materials. And we believe that this is the future for the plastic industry. Next slide, please. So we have built an enterprise ecosystem with the 16 company, where we have a company to produce the raw materials, to produce a finished product. We have a company for marketing solution. We have logistic company and also industrial and infrastructure company. This enterprise ecosystem will help us to promote all of the high engineering plastic and also eco-friendly plastic. As you can see on this slide, we have recently invested in a Korean company named Encore Bioplastic in the raw materials. This company has 20 years of experience for developing biodegradable plastic. And today I would like to share with you one of the projects that we have experience in Korea to develop the biodegradable fishing gear. which is also can share with you our experience, how we can also contribute to how we can reduce the plastic waste in the ocean. Next slide, please. Yeah, this company is built from 2000 in Korea, and currently in Korea we can produce around 3,000 tons of biodegradable material per year to supply for the biodegradable fishing net. Next slide, please. And in the future, it will start from the next year. We also will transfer the technology from the Korea to Vietnam, and we will build a bigger plant of 20,000 tons of biodegradable material. And we hope that this also can contribute to the plastic waste for the Vietnamese market and also Southeast Asian market. Next slide, please. So in the next part, I would like to share with you how we develop the biodegradable fishing gear in Korea as a good example that we have experienced. Next slide, please. We have developed this biodegradable fishing gear since 2002 in Korea. And during last year, we have tried many experiments. As you can see that every year we have almost 500 ships that using our biodegradable fishing gear. And this project was working with the National Institute of Fishery Science. It belongs to the Ministry of Fishery in Korea. And Encore Bioplastic now is one of the subsidiary of ANFAT Holdings, and which focus on supplying us the biodegradable raw material and also helping us to develop the new project. So currently we have 800 tons per year to produce a biodegradable fishing net, and we expect that in the next few years it will go up to 2,000 tons per year. Next slide, please. So this is an example of the biodegradable resin that we developed for making the biodegradable fishing net. We are using mostly the polymer called PBS and PBAT, which has excellent flexibility to create the fishing net. We are continuously develop the new resin we call it BDP to increase the biodegradability of the material, but also in order to keep the physical property of the fishing nets comparing to the non-biodegradable materials. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yes. So this is the ring test that we have been done in the ocean of the Korea, which we put our fishing net in the ocean, and then we test after time by time to see how it will be biodegraded under the sea. As you can see with the we have developed different resin which can have a different biodegradability. For example, the BDP 13 can have a high biodegradability, which showing the degradability under the sea. We also have the other resin, which is have a slower biodegradability. Next slide, please. So as you can see from the resin, we can then create the monofilament of the trap, or we can make the biodegradable fishing gear. And for different application, for example, this is the sea forest. We hope that we expect that after 2 or 3 years, when it already developed the sea forest, the support will disappear, or we can be used for the fishing farm. Next slide, please. You can see here from the resin, we can create the monofilament as the manufacturing process. Next slide, please. And then we can also weave the monofilament to create the fishing net. the results showing that the biodegradable resin is comparable to the non-biodegradable resin. Next slide, please. Yes, so this is just an example when we using our biodegradable fishing net in the real test, that we can see that the number of the catching of the fish and the other ocean, we have a very comparable result when they use a non-biodegradable or biodegradable resin. Next slide, please. The same thing that's showing here when we compare between the biodegradable and the nylon. We have different experience that's showing that it can also catch the same yellow crusher is a kind of fish in the same place. Next slide, please. So next slide, please. Okay. So we have developed this, and we are continuously develop the fishing net with a different resin for each application. For fishing farm, we need the biodegradability should be slower, but for the fishing net, we expect that the biodegradability of the fishing gear should be much faster. Next slide, please. So in Vietnam, we also have study we showing that in Vietnam, the most three of the products that use is a cell net, rolling, and gene net. This kind of product can be also produced by biodegradable resin. Next slide, please. And we have seen that in Vietnam, the market of the fishing net is also very potential. So in the next few years, when we develop our plan to produce a biodegradable material in Hải Phòng, we will also produce the biodegradable fishing net and to be able to test in Vietnam. Next slide. So that is my presentation today, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nguyễn Lê Thăng Long, for your useful and practical solutions for combating plastic waste in the oceans of Vietnam. And now we have 5 minutes for discussions. And the questions is, how can innovative solutions selected by EPIC to be buy-in by the government? Mr. Vĩnh, please.
Yes, thank you for a very good question. So as I presented earlier, so from 159 application we received at the closing of the announcement for EPIC. So we have selected 15 finalists, and then we come up with like 4 winners. So 4 winners is like the 4 most viable and most innovative solution for combating marine plastic litter. And your question is right about how can the government for the first year, the government of Vietnam and Thailand, how can the government buy in and use the solution? So of course, we work closely with the government to implement the EPIC challenge. So here in Vietnam, we work closely with MONRE, with the VASI to organize the competition. And in Thailand, also the EPIC also is also implemented by UNDP Thailand and the Thais and the Ministry of Environment. So we want to make sure that all stakeholders has been informed, and the selection of the most innovative solution has the participated from the government, from different stakeholders, so to make sure and then after that the project will provide support to scale up the solution, so that to make sure this will be well scaled up and replicated. I hope my answer would address the question.
Thank you for the enthusiastic contributions. This marks the end of Vietnamese technical sessions. We will back after 20 minutes break with the high-level sessions at 15. Thank you.